And chapter 1, verse 9. The God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, which are before called the waters under the firmament, and which were either on the surface of the earth or in the bowels of it, are mixed with it, which by the compression of the expanse or air were separated from it, and this by apertures and channels made were caused to flow as by a straight line, as the word used signifies, unto the decreed place that was broke up for them, the great hollow or channel which now contains the waters of the ocean. This was done by the word of the Lord at his rebuke, and when it seems there was a clap thunder, and perhaps an earthquake which made that vast cavity for the sea, as well as threw up the hills and mountains, and made the valleys, according to Job chapter 38, 1 verse 10. And let the dry land appear, clear of the waters, dried by the expanded air, hardened by the fiery light, and as yet without any herb or tree upon it. And it was so. Immediately done, the waters were drained off the earth, directed to their proper channels, and caused it to run as by line to their appointed place. And the solid parts of the earth became dry, and appeared in sight. Genesis chapter 1, verse 10. And God called the dry land earth. The whole child that was a turbid fluid, a mixture of earth. And Genesis 1, verse 10. And God called the dry land earth. And God called the dry land earth. The whole child that was turbid fluid, a mixture of earth and water, a rude, unformed mass of matter, was called earth before. But now that part of the terraqueous globe, which was separated from the waters and they form it, is called earth, which was its name in the Arabic language. From its being low and depressed, the lighter parts having been elevated and moved upwards and formed the atmosphere, the grosser parts subsiding and falling downwards made the earth, which is low with respect to the firmament, which has its name in the same language from its height, as before observed. And the gathering together of the waters called the seas, called his seas. For though there was but one place into which they were collected, and which is the main ocean, with which all other waters have communication and so are one. Yet there are diverse seas, as the Red Sea, the Mediterranean Sea, Caspian Sea, Baltic Sea, and etc., which are denominated from the shores they wash, as the German, British, and etc. And even lakes and pools of water are called seas, as the Sea of Galilee and Tiberias, which was no other than the lake of Gennesaret. And God saw that it was good, that these two should be separate, that the waters should be in one place. And the dry land appeared, and both have the names he gave them. And this is here mentioned, because now the affair of the waters, the division and separation of them, were brought to an end and to perfection. But because this phrase is here used, nor at the mention of the second day, hence Ticherellus and some others have thought that this work is to be ascribed to the second day and not to the third, and render the beginning of the 9th verse. And God had said, or after God had said, let the water under the heaven. Genesis 1 and verse 11. God said, let the earth bring forth grass, which had been impregnated by the Spirit of God that moved upon it grainy fruit. And though now become dry land, it retained sufficient moisture in it, and was juicy and fit to produce vegetables, and especially as it had the advantage of the expanded air about it, and the warmth of primordial light or fire. Though all this would have been insufficient to produce plants and trees at full growth, with a seed in them and fruit on them, without the interposition of Almighty power, this seems to intend the germination or budding out of the tender grass, and the numerous spikes of it which cover the earth, and by their verdure and greenness give a delightful aspect, as well as offered food for the creatures. The herb yielding seed. This is distinct from the former that denotes herbage in general, which grows up of itself without being sown or manured and is the food of beasts. This in particular herbs and plants for the use of men, which yield a seed which either falling from it shows itself again, or is taken from it and shown on purpose to reproduce it, being useful or delightful. And the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, as apples, pears, plums, apricots, nectars, peaches, organs, lemons, and etc., whose seed in itself upon the earth, each of which produce a seed according to the nature of them, which being shown produce the life. And so there is a continuance of them upon the earth. And it was so, as God commanded it should, as appears in the following verse. And Genesis chapter 1, verse 12. And the earth brought forth grass in great abundance at once. The hills and vales were clothed with it. And so as rich provision was made, the beasts and cattle of the earth 2 or 3 days before they were created, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit whose seed was in itself of his kind, wholesome and healthful herbs and plants, and delicious fruit to be meat and food for men, ready prepared for him when created, as Genesis chapter 1 verse 29 on this day. Though after later were made the garden of Eden, and all the trees pleasant for sight and good for food, particularly the tree of life, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And God saw that it was good, which he had now caused to spring forth grass, herbs, and fruit trees, which were good for man and beast, and this he foresaw would be so. And Genesis chapter 1, verse 30. And evening and morning were the third day. The space of 24 hours ran out, and were measured either by the rotation of the body of light and heat around the earth, or of the earth upon its axis. And this was according to Cephalus, it's the 20th day of April, and according to Bishop Pusher, the 25th of October. Though those who suppose the world is created in autumn make the first day to be the 1st of September. And so this must be the thought of that month. The Jews are divided about the season of the creation. Some say Nisan or March, others Tishri or September.